Can any of you respond and say you're convinced he's a franchise quarterback, Gabriel? Can you say that? I don't think, in fairness, you can. And I, for one, want to see Sanders before this season is over to know whether we got to make a deal or trade up to get the best possible quarterback that's going to be available in the draft next year. So, to answer your question, I think we're getting close with Gabriel to get Sanders in there, and let's see what we got with the kid from Colorado.
What if I told you the Browns' quarterback room just became primetime TV, and Bruce Brennan's running it like a man who's had enough of bad scripts? He's officially dropped the act. Dillon Gabriel's not his guy. And now he's preaching the gospel of Shedeur Sanders like Cleveland just found its chosen one. Pop your popcorn, because Brennan didn't just rant, he erupted. And the crazy part, this eruption might be the most logical thing he's done all season.
I think that can help inject some life into the team as well, now that has passed and this is the team going forward and they can all focus.
Yeah, I understand the question, Daryl. I don't know how much guys spend time thinking about those type of things. I know it's speculative, and I know there's, plenty of news outlets that cover those type of things, and that's what you have to do. But our guys don't spend much time on that. We kind of keep our focus where it is, and so that's the sense I've gotten from the guys.
Cleveland's airwaves haven't cooked like this since the last time Bruce Drennan blew a gasket on live TV, which, let's be honest, was about a week ago. But this one hits different. This isn't just another sideline blow-up or a coach losing his cool. This time, it's personal. It's pressure, pride, and panic, all colliding in real time.
If you look statistically at Sanders' career with his dad at Colorado, a vast majority of the majority of his yardage was picked up on safe screen passes. Plus, getting the ball into Hunter's hands. You get the ball into this guy's hands and he can take it all the way. So, that's a tough one, but I would say Sam.
This isn't just angry. This is full nuclear. Bruce Drennan isn't mad anymore. He's downright spiritually offended. You could see the veins in his neck pulsing like he just realized his fantasy team started a kicker instead of a quarterback. That's how deep this one cut. He's done pretending. Dillon Gabriel's not the guy. Never was. Never will be.
Shouldn't Shedeur start over Dillon Gabriel? Shouldn't he get the start first?
Oh, I don't think so at all.
Well, here's my thinking. They want to see what Shedeur Sanders is. He's a throw-in. He's an asset. Dillon Gabriel's going to be here as their backup quarterback in your mind for the next 4 or 5 years. Yep. No rush in getting him in there. Let's see what Sanders can do.
I still think you got to think of the locker room and throwing Shedeur in there from number 3.
You don't think Shedeur is well received in the locker room?
I'm not sure that teammates think he can win.
According to Bruce, it's officially Shedeur Sanders' time. And the way he said it, you'd swear the kid was about to descend from the clouds in a gold helmet with a cape stitched from highlight reels. Brennan spoke like a man witnessing prophecy, not football. In his mind, Shedeur isn't just next up. He's salvation.
So if you're looking at the way Dillon Gabriel, the way that offense was constructed, you got the same results, because what you want in your defense is for you to make turnovers. They forced 2 turnovers against the Minnesota Vikings. And Dillon Gabriel still couldn't get it done because he's no threat to force the ball down the field. Even the last play of the game, before Kevin O'Connell called the timeout, the Hail Mary interception, he couldn't even get it to the end zone. That thing fell 5 yards short of the end zone, and it got picked off by Isaiah Rodgers, but it didn't count because Kevin O'Connell called it.
Let's be real. Cleveland, his quarterback situation has been cursed since 1999. This team could take Tom Brady in his prime and turn him into a backup. It's like some haunted carousel of mediocrity. Every time a new QB walks through those doors, their arm strength vanishes, their confidence dissolves, and before long, they rue out there throwing passes like they were targeting the mascot instead of the receiver. Dillon Gabriel just happens to be the newest victim in the Browns' Bermuda Triangle of quarterback misery. And Bruce Drennan? He's over it. Done with the just give him time. Sermons and the system takes patience. Speeches. He's not buying any of it. Bruce doesn't want stability. He wants shockwaves. He wants energy. He wants Shedeur Sanders. In his words, Shedeur isn't just a quarterback. He is an alarm clock for a team that has been oversleeping for decades. The Browns have been hitting snooze since the Clinton years, and Brennan's saying enough is enough. It's wake-up time. Picture it. Bruce in the studio, voice cracking like old vinyl, pounding the desk like he's calling on the football gods. His veins practically glowing Browns orange with every syllable. Dillon Gabriel's name gets tossed around like a traffic cone on I-90, and you can feel it. This is a man who's been waiting all week to finally let that rant fly.
The narrative that's now leaking out of Cleveland, it's a question. And the question is, does Shedeur want to play? Is he going out of his way to not be available to play? Now, he did practice on Wednesday. He still has some ailing back issue. To be fair, I'm a doctor. I saw him go to Colorado during the bye week and surprise Dillon at Colorado, and he looked fantastic. The Browns now want people to think that Shedeur is inventing a back.
Because let's be honest, Dillon Gabriel looks like he's out there trying to solve a Rubik's Cube instead of reading defenses. He drops back, squints downfield, hesitates, and boom, sack. Browns fans don't even yell anymore. They just sit there in quiet acceptance, like people who've made peace with a lifetime of disappointment. And then there's Shedeur, sitting on the bench with sunglasses on like he is posing for a mixtape cover titled The Franchise Awakens. Bruce sees that image and absolutely loses it. He starts painting Shedeur as the cure for Cleveland's eternal hangover, the spark that's been missing since forever. Meanwhile, the Browns are losing to teams that couldn't beat a solid high school squad, and Bruce flips a mental switch straight into Shedeur mode. Suddenly, his voice changes, like he's describing a myth, not a man. Shedeur becomes part quarterback, part motivational speaker, part lightning storm. You'd think the kid just split the clouds in Boulder. According to Bruce, Shedeur's got the arm, the poise, the vision, and the guts to make Cleveland believe again. That's adorable, because this fan base has already believed in about 27 quarterbacks over the last 2 decades. At this point, they would put their faith in a golden retriever if it could throw for 200 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Dillon Gabriel is not an NFL quarterback. It's time for Shedeur to be in the lineup. Otherwise, you're going to see Miles slamming that helmet even more.
Has to play sometime during the year. I'm not sure if it's right now, but you got to see him 3 or 4 games.
Within the next 3 weeks or so, we should see Shedeur Sanders.
But Bruce, he's dead serious this time. He's pacing the studio, sweating through his collar, convinced he's witnessing destiny unfold. To him, Shedeur Sanders isn't just another prospect. He's Neo, in the Matrix, and Dillon Gabriel. He's the glitch holding the whole simulation hostage. And honestly, you can't even blame him for losing faith. The Browns' offense has looked like a group project where everyone forgot the deadline. The play calling becomes so predictable that even the hot dog vendors could call out the next snap. Gabriel passes either float into orbit or dive into the turf like he allergic to accuracy. So why not roll the dice on Shedeur? What's the worst that happens? They lose differently. Bruce swears Shedeur's built for the moment. He's got that primetime DNA, swagger, poise, and a calm that turns chaos into choreography. The kid speaks like he was born for the spotlight, while Gabriel talks like he's still trying to convince himself he belongs there. And that's the real difference: confidence. Bruce Drennan, Cleveland's self-appointed quarterback therapist, has made up his mind. Shedeur, swagger isn't. Just a vibe. It the cure. Forget stats. Forget experience. Brennan's pushing all his chips in on one thing: belief.
Sadly, Tony Grossi has come to his senses about Dillon Gabriel. After his observation of Dillon Gabriel in these 4 games that Dillon Gabriel has been on an NFL field, he's finally came to the conclusion that Dillon Gabriel is not an NFL quarterback. Now, in the past, Tony Grossi was vouching for Dillon Gabriel, talking about he was much better than Shedeur Sanders. That's why Cleveland has him as the starting quarterback ever since Joe Flacco has been traded.
Bruce starts throwing around phrases like it factor and command presence. And you can almost feel the poor producers off camera slowly losing the will to live. Every time he says Shedeur, the ratings spike. Every time he says Gabriel, the studio lights dim out of sheer embarrassment. It's chaos disguised as analysis, and somehow it's must-watch TV. He's practically rewriting the Browns' playbook live on air. The master plan? Bench Gabriel, hand the keys to Shedeur, and let the fireworks fly. According to Bruce, that move would shock the system. And sure, nothing screams stability like tossing a rookie straight into the NFL equivalent of a blender. But this is Cleveland. Stability here is a myth told to children of loyal fans. The rest of the panel just shakes their heads, muttering, "Here we go again." But no one dares to change the channel, because when Bruce Drennan melts down, it's not commentary. It's theater. He starts reading off Gabriel S. stats like tragic poetry, completion percentages that sound like gas prices, yardage totals that look like phone numbers. Then, without missing a beat, he pivots to Shedeur's college highlights, spins, deep bombs, sideline swagger, and treats them like sacred scripture. Every flashy throw becomes a verse in the book of Shedeur. To Bruce, those YouTube clips aren't just plays. They're prophecy.
If he doesn't get promoted from QB3 to QB2, what happens?
What I think happens is that you put even more pressure on Dillon Gabriel in his second start than he had in his NFL debut.
If he's not promoted?
If Shedeur Sanders is not promoted to QB2.
Why is that?
Because then all of a sudden, you start to ask all of these questions as to why. There are only 2 quarterbacks on the active roster right now.
Then comes the classic Brennan move, the dramatic pause. You know the one. He leans in toward the camera, eyes locked like he's about to drop a sermon, and delivers a line so heavy you can practically hear the soundboard short circuit. Something like, "This city deserves better." Translation, Dillon Gabriel, pack your playbook. But here's the thing. Beneath all the sarcasm and volcanic rage, Bruce actually has a point. Cleveland does deserve better. He paints this cinematic image of Shedeur Sanders leading the Browns like a gridiron prophet, reviving the fan base 1 touchdown at a time. Meanwhile, Gabriel fades into the background, a ghost of quarterbacks past. Forgettable. Replaceable. Already halfway erased from the conversation. But the beauty of Bruce's meltdown is that it might actually move something. Browns fans are emotional to their core. Give them a spark, and they'll build a bonfire. By sunrise, the city's already buzzing. Talk shows can't shut up about it. Sports radio's lit up with callers begging for Shedeur. Meme pages flood the internet with Sanders the Savior edits. And just like that, Bruce Drennan's rant becomes the gospel of Cleveland hope.
It feels like if you're the Browns right now, you need to get a look at everything you possibly can, because you're going to be going into a draft where you might have to make another quarterback decision. And I wouldn't want to go into that draft saying, well, I never even got a look at Shedeur. Well, then why'd you even draft him, right? And that's a very, very frustrating conversation for me as somebody that evaluates all these players every year, right? Try to get to well over 300. And I feel like especially getting to talk to, about 45 of them one-on-one at the combine each year, I generally have a good idea of what guys can and can't do, what the development plan should be.
Meanwhile, Dillon Gabriel, as doom scrolling through Twitter like it as a minefield, every post a fresh reminder that Cleveland's patience runs shorter than its playoff drought. The coaching staff doing their best impression of, we don't hear the noise. But let's be real, everyone hears it. You can't step outside in Cleveland right now without someone yelling, "Start Shedeur," from a passing car. And that the wild part, Bruce Drennan might, they just flip the whole narrative with one rant, one on-air meltdown, and suddenly Shedeur Sanders isn't a backup anymore. He's a belief system. The fans are restless, desperate for something, anything that looks like a spark. Gabriel jogs onto the field to a round of polite applause that sounds more like pity than support. Every incomplete pass earns a sigh. Every stalled drive a sarcastic, "maybe next time." Somewhere in the crowd, a fan holds up a cardboard prophecy that reads, "Let Shedeur cook." By halftime, Gabriel's stat line could make a Pop Warner coach weep. The Browns trail again. The defense looks gassed, and the cameras can't help but cut to Shedeur on the sideline, calm, collected, chewing gum like a man who already knows how this movie ends.
You have to squeeze more out of a third and a fifth round pick, though. You can't have it be the competition was Dillon versus Shedeur, and then next year we're just going to act like both of these quarterbacks don't exist.
Well, no, they'll still be here because I think that's crucial. If they did,
you have to get something out of them.
What do you mean?
Even from a backup quarterback standpoint.
Well, isn't that I think the
I'm
plan
agreeing with
Dillon?
you. I'm agreeing with you is the point.
Because I think Shedeur's the one you're not going to get something out of. I think he's the guy that if he's not the starter next year, could just be gone.
If that's what it ends up being, that's what it ends up being. But the point is that you have to find the value in there somewhere between the third and the fifth round pick. You can't just say we took these guys and.
Back in his studio, Bruce Drennan is pacing like a man who just got divine confirmation that the universe finally agrees with him. He's shouting at the TV, "You hear that? They know!" As if the coaches can somehow feel his vindication through the screen. And then it happens. The camera pans to the sideline, the headset crackles, and the call's made. Gabriel's benched. Shedeur grabs his helmet, jogs onto the field, and for a moment, Cleveland believes. Even if it's just adrenaline, even if it's pure delusion, the crowd's roaring, the energy's real. For the first time all season, the team feels alive. Bruce didn't just predict it, he manifested it. Because every so often, a voice like Brennan's cuts through the static. Not because he's right, but because he feels right. He gives fans something to cling to, a target for their frustration, a spark for their faith, a reason to keep caring about a franchise addicted to chaos. And maybe, just maybe, he's not crazy after all. Whether Shedeur becomes the savior or just another name in the long graveyard of Browns quarterbacks, one thing's certain, Cleveland's ready for a change. And if that change comes with sunglasses, swagger, and a cannon arm, you can bet Bruce Drennan will be there, screaming about it until the mic finally dies.
It may be Shedeur is better than Dillon Gabriel. We'll find out at some point.
Maybe.
Guessing.
Not maybe, Dustin. Little League, high school.
Say whatever you want.
Early college, middle college, late college. Right here, October 27th of 2025. Shedeur Sanders is better than Dillon Gabriel.
I'm taking Shedeur at number 2. I'm going to do the obvious right thing there. I'm going to take Shedeur and I'm going to roll with it and see how it goes. But then I'm trading back into the end of the first round with my second.
So yeah, maybe it's time. Maybe Dillon Gabriel's learning curve has officially turned into a flat line. Maybe Shedeur Sanders' moment has finally arrived. Or maybe, just maybe, Cleveland's doing what it always does, building a statue before the first win. Either way, Bruce Drennan got exactly what he wanted. The city's full attention. And in Cleveland football, that's half the battle right there. Because when the Browns' offense looks like a bad punchline, sometimes all it takes is one loud man with a microphone to sell the idea that hope wears number 12. In this town, perception is the stat that matters most. If Shedeur wins, Bruce becomes a prophet. If he loses, Bruce becomes a martyr. Either way, the man's already earned his victory lap. And that's the twisted beauty of Cleveland football. It's never just about the game. It's about the drama, the delusion, and that stubborn kind of optimism that somehow survives every Sunday heartbreak. Fans here don't just root for wins, they root for redemption. So whether Shedeur Sanders ends up rewriting history or simply adding another tragic entry to the Browns' encyclopedia of quarterback heartbreaks, Bruce Drennan's rant will live on, not as analysis, but as performance art. Because only in Cleveland can a meltdown feel like motivation and a benching feel like a resurrection.